While in the United States, President Zelensky could not even imagine what terrible news he would have to face after returning to Ukraine. Begging US lawmakers to give another amount of money, President Zelensky did not even suspect that at these minutes the armed forces of Ukraine were losing another strategically important settlement. So, on December 13th, information was confirmed that the Russian army had managed to completely take control of the strategically important town of Maryinka. Later, footage appeared with the waving Russian flag and the banner of victory in the western part of this town. The fact that the Russian army is in full control of Maryinka was confirmed by war correspondents from both sides. Moreover, the Ukrainian soldiers also confirmed the fact of the loss of Maryinka. According to them, some groups of Ukrainian formations are still in Maryinka, but at the same time, they have completely lost control of the city. However, against the background of all this evidence, the Kiev regime and the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine still claim that the Ukrainian armed forces control the city. Moreover, General of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Alexander Tarnavsky, commander of the troops in the Avdiivka direction, emphatically stated that the Ukrainian army is still fighting for the city of Maryinka. At the same time, it is worth noting that the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine refused to comment on the situation in this town. Against this background, experts have the impression that the Ukrainian generals are afraid to report President Zelensky about the loss of Maryinka. According to them, Zelensky is completely disconnected from reality. The Ukrainian leader does not understand what is happening on the battlefield, wanting to receive only positive news. Meanwhile, European analysts from the Center for Eastern Studies continue to publish articles that talk about the tactical successes of the Russian army along the entire front line. According to them, the failures of the armed forces of Ukraine are because the Russian army managed to solve all the problems observed in 2022. In particular, the Russian command managed to solve all the problems with logistics and significantly strengthen the military potential of the combined group of forces. In addition, European analysts admit that Russian soldiers are much better trained and motivated than Ukrainian ones. At the same time, experts admitted that the most important factor in the failures of the armed forces of Ukraine is the complete dependence of the Ukrainian army on arms supplies from Western countries. Moreover, European experts also admitted that over the past 2 months, the Ukrainian armed forces have lost almost all strategic heights and settlements in the Bakhmut direction, allowing the Russian army to create a powerful springboard for the offensive on Chasiv Yar. Meanwhile, a large number of deaths of representatives of foreign states began to be recorded in the zone of the special military operation. So, since the beginning of December this year, 5 US citizens, 2 Swedish citizens, and 1 Canadian citizen have been killed in the Bakhmut direction. At the same time, it is reported that all those killed were 200 kilometers from the line of combat contact. It is also worth noting that the Ukrainian side claims that all the dead were allegedly foreign mercenaries, who fought in the ranks of the armed forces of Ukraine. However, the commander of the Vostok battalion of the DPR armed forces, Andrei Marachko, denied this information. According to him, all the dead were acting high-ranking NATO officers. Moreover, it is reported that Spetsnaz GRU began operating in the zone of a special military operation, which literally opened the hunting season for NATO officers and Ukrainian generals. At the same time, it is worth noting that General Syrsky also confirmed that Russian Spetsnaz GRU is actively operating in the Bakhmut direction. According to him, the Russian command uses Spetsnaz GRU not only in offensive operations but also for special operations deep into Ukrainian territory. In addition, it is also reported that the Ukrainian generals have significantly strengthened their own security, and now rarely try to leave the fortified bunkers. Let me remind you that Spetsnaz GRU is a special forces of the main directorate of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces. The number of fighters, weapons, and the main tasks of this Spetsnaz are strictly classified. At the same time, it is known that since the 1940s of the last century, Spetsnaz GRU has fulfilled all the tasks entrusted to it.